All right, the meeting will come to order, the annual meeting. Before we start, good morning and welcome to Woodhaven Association's Board of Directors meeting. This is the annual meeting portion. Please note this meeting is being recorded and streamed live on Woodhaven Association's YouTube channel. Can anybody give me a heads up or a thumbs up? Can you hear me okay? All right. A little louder? Okay, thank you. The recording will also be archived and made available on the association's YouTube channel until the next regularly scheduled board meeting. All care is taken to maintain your privacy. However, as a visitor in the public gallery, your presence may be recorded and broadcast live. By remaining in the public gallery, it is assumed your consent is given if your image is inadvertently broadcast. Comments made by members from the gallery during member business from the floor will also be live streamed and recorded and publicly available on the retained meeting footage. There will be no direct communication between the board of directors and viewers of the live stream. All member business from the floor must be performed by members in attendance in person at the meeting. And if I could also respectfully ask you to put your cell phones on mute, I would definitely appreciate it. Thank you. All right, the meeting will call to order. Do we take roll call at this, Christy? No? Okay. All right. Okay. Approval of minutes, please. Okay. I need a motion from the floor for approval of minutes.
Right here, Ralph McCurdy, 13-7. I'll second it. Ernie Mitchell, 16-7.
Thank you. Any discussion on this? All those in favor of the minutes? Aye. Any objections? Minutes pass. Thank you. Line item 3, Laura, Treasurer's Report.
Thank you, Madam President. Welcome everyone to this year's annual report. I'm going to start on page 13 of the annual report, which is going to go over the Wipfli Independent Auditor's Report. Closer? Shoot. Can you all hear me? Okay. Okay. So Wipfli audited Woodhaven, and which comprised of the consolidated balance sheets from March 31st, 2020 and 2021 and 2020, and the related statements of the consolidated income and association equity and cash flows for the years, and then ended, and the related notes to the consolidated financial statements, which are in the following pages. We'll review those. So the auditor's responsibilities, their responsibility was to express an opinion of these consolidated financial statements based on the audit. They conducted their audit in accordance with auditing standards generally accepted in the United States. Those standards require that we plan and perform the audit to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the consolidated financial statements are free from material misstatement. An audit involves performing procedures to obtain audit evidence about the amounts and disclosures in the consolidated financial statements. The procedures selected depended on the auditor's judgment, including the assessments of the risk of material misstatement of the consolidated financial statements, whether due to fraud or error. In making those risk assessments, the auditor considers the internal control relevant to the entity's preparation and fairness presentation of the consolidated financial statements in order to design the audit procedures that are appropriate in the circumstances, but not for the purpose of expressing an opinion of the effectiveness of the entity's internal control. Accordingly, we expressed no such opinion. So the opinion was the consolidated financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects the financial position, the Woodhaven Association and subsidiaries as of March 31st, 2021 and 2020, and the consolidated results of their operations and cash flows for the years then ended in accordance with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States. As we've stated before, the audit, we had an actual pristine audit once again. There was absolutely no findings within our balance sheets, and when we were going through the audit process, we'd ask them, were there any findings? And they said absolutely not. They couldn't even find any findings. They've tried. One of the things that they said was that our staff keep our books very, very clean. And when they were preparing the documents for them and providing them with the documents, because during COVID last year, they had to do virtual. This year was a lot different. They were able to come on site, so it was a good thing. They did it was partial virtual and partial on site. So they were able to see all the documents. And again, Woodhaven has pristine records, and the audit was no findings whatsoever. So that's a very good thing for our organization. So if you'll turn to page 14, we'll go through the consolidated balance sheet. Regarding assets, cash on hand and in bank restricted for 2021, we had $3,047,723 versus 2020 of $1,510,901. Cash on hand and bank unrestricted was $6,309,985 versus $3,052,282 from 2020. And if you go through and you look at the total assets, from 2021 we had $33,751,415 versus $32,020,359 from 2020. Liabilities and association equity, we had $8,488,993 for 2021 and $8,522,264 for 2020. Total association equity was $25,262,422 versus 2020, which was $23,498,095. Total liabilities and association equity was $33,751,415, and in 2020 we had $32,020,359. So the association is very, very healthy. We are very well balanced, and we have a very strong association. Turning to page 15. This is the association subsidiaries consolidated statements and income association equity. So for revenue assessments was for 2021 $8,012,642. Net sales was $3,045,664, and commissions was $461,808 for a total revenue in 2021 of $11,520,114. About $1 million more than the previous year. Commissions paid, cost of goods sold was $2,078,450. Gross profit and other operating revenue. So gross profit was $9,177,924, and from 2020 it was $8,343,906. Other operating revenue was $579,706 in 2021 versus 2020, which was $571,795. Total revenue from operations was $9,757,630 versus 2020, which was $8,915,701. Operating expenses was $9,118,954, and in 2020 it was $8,183,039. Net income from operations was $638,676 in 2021 versus 2020, which was $732,662. Other income, $1,125,651 in 2021 versus $279,504, which I believe isn't this a lot of the PPE and Ppp loans? Yeah, so the other income in this column right here that you're looking at, this $1.1 million, attributes to the PPP loans that we received from COVID relief. Net income for 2021 was $1,764,327 versus 2020, which was $1,012,166. The association equity at the beginning of the year was $23,498,095 in 2021, and in 2020 it was $22,485,929. At the end of the year, association equity was $25,262,422 in 2021, and in 2020 it ended at $23,498,095. Next, page 16. So this is the association consolidated statement of cash flow for the year end. Looking at the net income from 2021, we had a net income of $1,764,327 versus the net income from 2020, which was $1,012,166. And if you look at all of the adjustments, the depreciation and amortization was, am I looking at the right line here? Yeah, was $1,536,839 in 2021 versus 2020, which was $1,532,901. Bad debt expense went down a little bit from $118,089 in 2020 to $100,547. And then going down, the SBA PPP loan forgiveness was $803,500. So that again, that has to do with PPP loans that we received from the government. And then just the net cash flow from operating activities, the total was $4,511,797 in 2021 versus $1,357,749 in 2020. Cash flow from investing activities, proceeds from the sales of assets was $41,923,000 in 2021 and $22,356,000 in 2020. The net interest bearing deposits in bank, the change, was $897,309 in 2021 to a negative $2,949,403 in 2020. Proceeds from maturity and sales of investment securities was $344,246. Somebody like to shut that off? In 2021, and in 2020 it was $949,542. Purchases from investment securities was a negative $1,167,320,000, and purchases from property and equipment was a negative $636,930,000 in 2021 and negative $536,002 in 2020. Net cash flows from investing activities was negative $520,772 in 2021 and negative $2,513,507 in 2020. Cash flow from financing activities, which was the proceeds from the SBA PPP loans, totaled $803,500. And then the cash and cash equivalents for the restricted and unrestricted beginning was $4,563,183 in 2021 and $5,718,941 in 2020. We ended 2021 with the restricted and unrestricted amount of $9,357,708 in 2021, and we began 2021 with the end of $4,563,183 in 2020. And that is the end of my report.
Thank you, Laura. Now the Executive Director's report. if you'd like to make a second. If you'd like to make a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Okay, that was confusing, but I do have to talk. I don't know if you didn't want me to talk. I will try to be brief, okay? I want to thank everybody for taking time out of their day to be here. As Laura has gone through, the annual report has a lot of very good information in it. I definitely encourage everybody to read through it, ask questions about anything that you have. But before I get started, I want to at least recognize and introduce some of the staff members that are here. But you can see that there are pictures of our organizational structure and our key staff positions that are provided. So here with me today is our General Manager, Randy Kaler, our other General Manager, Amy Ackert. We have our IT Manager, Sam Owens, and IT Dylan. Staff here taking care of those activities. Christy Althouse is our Recording Secretary. Then we have Director of Recreation and Aquatics, Tim O'Loughlin. Assistant General Store Manager, Jonathan Quintana. And Director of Utility Operations, Rusty Lindemeyer, with us today. Thank you for that. I want to, again, just kind of reiterate the purpose of your annual report is to focus on your last fiscal year. So we're really kind of talking about what happened from April of 2020 to March of 2021. There's a smattering of things that talk about what's going on right up to today, which is kind of exciting and things to keep in mind. But I want to extend a compliment to our marketing communication staff. They put together this year in review that outlines and kind of provides some bullet points of what went on during the fiscal year. And I think they've done a really nice job of outlining with pictures and bullet points some of the things that are going on. So I do want to just kind of touch on just a few things from that. But I encourage you to look through that and reminisce about, what happened a year ago. Obviously, we had a lot to do with COVID and pandemic, and we talked about this at the last annual meeting. And I think our response was above average, way above average as far as dealing with the pandemic. But some of the other things that year in review reminded me is a lot of things got done. The improvements to this room, the ceiling tiles got painted, the floor got done. All of this is brand new. There was a culvert replacement, major culvert replacement in Section 10. We got the Friday Night Live stage completed, which was a tremendous benefit and activity for us this year. No pictures in there, but I don't want to exclude the walkway bridge, which over the Black Oak Lake spillway. That was a really nice addition. It did make a cameo with our beer, though. Randy took a picture with the beer on the bridge for you in there. So a lot of good things. The trail improvements, a lot of things got done, and then activity-wise, we were able to open the park and make things available, and I'm really happy and excited that we were able to do that for you. As Laura has highlighted, the other kind of primary piece of information in this annual report is our financial activities, our audit report, and things like that. It's important for you to understand that what's in here is our consolidated, or what we refer to as our short report. So it consolidates a lot of the different department activity and the subsidiary activity, so you see that in this report. There are some key footnotes that I encourage you to read through. Footnote on long-term debt is on page 20. Income taxes is on page 22. Our reserve fund is on page 23, footnote H. And as Laura referenced, the PPP loan activity is referenced as footnote J on page 23 as well. In my report to you as a financial state of the association, there's two noteworthy things that I wanted to kind of explain. And that first one on the balance sheet on page 14, Laura pointed out the cash balance changes from 21 to 20 were significant. We saw an increase of in excess of $4 million in cash. There are two key reasons that occurred. The first is last year we delayed your receipt of payment for your installments on the assessments. So at March 31 last year, we didn't collect as much of the assessment. So the receivables a lot higher in 2020, and it's about 2.1 million lower in 2021. That's the biggest piece of that change. And the positives about it are reflective in what we're seeing. Property values are escalating at rates we've never seen before. Attendance levels have been very high, and then participation in paying dues are all contributing factors for why more cash was received on time in 2021 compared to 2020. So that's a key point to understand. As we move forward, hopefully that'll stay steady. When we look at this report next year, the 21 will be in the right-hand column and the 22 will be in the left hand, and we'll see how we're doing, and we'll judge how we're doing in that respect. The other piece that Laura talked on is the PPP loan, but where that flows into this report is in the net income on page 15, and in particular the other income line item. You see that that's substantially higher than what occurred in 2020. That won't be repeated. Okay, the PPP loans, we wrestled with whether to apply for them or not. In the end, we chose to. We were able to gain approval to get them, and we were also able to gain approval to have them forgiven. So what that's doing is that's contributing a huge surplus in our results this year, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But there's another federal subsidized piece we want to touch on, and that's the Family First Corona Recovery Act. There was a bill passed just before the PPP loans that allowed you to get reimbursement for that, and I think Amy and the administrative staff did an excellent job of taking advantage of that, and that's provided about an additional $115,000 in subsidized benefit to the association. So when you take the $800,000 from $803,000, $804,000 plus the Family First Coronavirus Act, about $920,000 of our surplus is from federal subsidized programs. And I think that's a significant thing to point out and to understand. This won't be repeated, and this is extra money that we are going to have a lot of debate, a lot of discussion on as to what we do with these funds. It will be a significant part of our budget planning process, which is going forward here in September for 2022-23. So those are two of the key things with the audit report and the noteworthy comments. I do want to kind of have you look at the supplemental schedules on pages 8 and 9 real quickly. So in reference to the surplus is reported at $966,649 compared to a budget projection of a negative $164. So when you add those two numbers together, that's our favorable variance for the year. About 1.13 million is what it adds up to. 81% of that is those federal subsidized programs. But two other areas performed extremely well for us last year, and that was our Woody Inc. operation, which provided about 10% of that additional surplus or that favorable variance. And then Wood Haven Lakes Realty had their best year ever, and that's about an 8% of that that favorable variance. So the majority of what produced the positive result was federal subsidized programs and really strong sales at your Woody Inc. and your Woodhaven Lakes Realty operations. So we certainly want to make sure you understand that and you read this. As it's stated in my article, if you want to see more and you want to talk to me more about numbers, I'm your guy. But bring your time, because it takes a while to get to all my stuff. So, but there's a full report posted to the website. You can go to Finance Committee meetings. You can come in and talk and ask questions. Believe me, no question about our finances is off the table. Just come to us, ask the question, we'll do the research, we'll get you the answer. In that note, your other summary report that's provided is to give you an idea of where the long-range plan of our organization is going. So that's in our 5-year projection summary report on page 9. That gives you an indication of where assessments are projected to be in the future, talks about our reserve fund, talks about our debt situations, and things like that. And I do want to point out, on April 1st of this year, the disaster recovery debt was paid in full. We're done. So that's a wonderful thing to be, and that's 3 years earlier than we projected when the tornado occurred. So we've been able to take our surpluses and our benefits and push them back and get us back into thinking about other things to invest in our property. So we'll see where that goes. All right. Some other statistics to just kind of touch on. I'd like to add these for you. Water used was 101 million gallons for the year. Last year we were at 90 million. This was the highest volume of water use in 7 years, and that's indicative of the increase in attendance. It's indicative of the new people buying property and becoming active owners and using their property. So those are our positive signs. Fortunately, we don't have too many main breaks, right, Rusty? So although we faced a couple of those recently, but that should be water that's actually getting used and going through the meters. On the converse side, our wastewater, our treatment plant, was 60 million gallons last year, compared to the year before where it was 90 million. Now there's two things that come into play with our wastewater operation. We have an infiltration issue. So when we have heavy rain events or it's a rainy year, we tend to get more volume through our wastewater plant. Comparatively speaking, 2020 and the year prior, which would be 2019, was a drier year, but we are also doing a televising program and cleaning of the mains. And when we discover problems, we do plug those leaks and try to make it a more efficient system. So that's an interesting number. Facebook likes increased to 19,337 from 17,975. This one's really interesting to me. Our website sessions, we're at 263,282 compared to 180,834. It's about a 40+% increase. That's a significant change. We had a lot of downloads of the app, about 2,600 downloads during the year compared to only 1,000 the year before. We increased our PO emails or property owner emails to 4,426. Woodhaven Lakes Realty closings for the year were 199 compared to 140 the year before and 126 2 years before that. On the other side, closing only's quick claims were 79 closings compared to 55 the year before. And average sale price increased 29% from 2019 to 2020 and was 46% above the 5-year average. So lots of good things going on here at Woodhaven. I got some kind of points I want to make before closing. Many organizations are adversely impacted by the events of 2020, and everybody has had a lot of different challenges to deal with. We faced a lot of uncertainty. I think our perseverance was certainly tested, but we did meet those challenges. And I'm extremely proud of where we are as a community right now, and where we're at going forward. From a staff perspective, we take, I think, as much care in what happens out here as your owners and your boards and your people that volunteer. I want you to know that. We really want this place to be the best it can be. And that kind of reinforced my message to you. And I talk about power of positivity. I've talked about it in the past. What we try to do is focus on and promote the positive things that are going on here. And I encourage you to help us do that. There are things we need to fix. We know that. I think everybody knows that. We try to address them and correct them, in the best manner that we can. And there are some things we can't control. And what we got to try to do is not let those things get in the way of us. So something that was different this year, 2021 compared to 2020, is because we were under a lot of restrictions, we didn't have a staff orientation in 2020. But we were able to have a staff orientation this year with our staff. And I guess I don't want to leave anybody out on our staff, because they all step up when we need them to step up. And I'm going to talk about some of them in particular here shortly, but all of them give to this organization and respond when we need them to respond. But we gave a presentation on how to address complex issues or complex challenges at our staff orientation, and we kind of boiled it down to a 4-step process that we asked the staff to look at. And the first step in that process is you have to prepare with a purpose. You have to get ready for what's coming. You have to think about the challenges that you have to deal with. And when I think about the things that have happened to us this summer, one of the things we stress to staff is we can't promise you everything's going to go great. We can't promise you're not going to have a rough experience with a property owner. They're going to happen. And so what we wanted to do is prepare them to understand you got to be prepared to address these challenges. The second step that we outlined and that we push is that we want you to plan to exceed your expectations. Okay, we don't want to settle for just mailing it in or getting it done. We want to try to exceed our expectations, exceed your expectations. That's really hard to do because there's 6,000 of you and you all have a different opinion. But we want our staff to think like that. And then this one I'm not going to talk a lot about. Staff will give me crap about it anyway, but I talk about the 90% rule, which for me there's some personal connection to it and a passion I have for the game of basketball. But really the 90% rule is about a teamwork goal, the teamwork objective, and that the sum of all the parts is bigger than the individual pieces when you look at it. So some people like to use 80-20 analysis, 90-10. They're similar concept. There's a lot more going on, whether it's the board, the volunteers, staff. Everybody plays a role in our success. And we're all here trying to accomplish the same thing. And so remember that there's a lot more going on besides what you're dealing with. And that's kind of what the 90% rule is. But in conclusion, you got to enjoy the ride. You can't do all of those things and then just be so miserable or upset at the back end. You want to be happy. We're a recreational community. We want you to be happy. We want you to have fun. We want you to enjoy being here. That's our goal. And so to that regard, a lot of things happened in 2021. The weather didn't cooperate all the time. It never does. We had storms. We had some bad luck on our main event. Additional main event weekends. We had some things happen. We made some changes in our aquatics department. People didn't like it at first. Some people did. We made changes. We adjusted. Staff did what they did to face these challenges and this complexity. So, you know, I'd mentioned the main breaks, Rusty having to deal with, but our maintenance crew with cleaning up and getting the property back into shape as quickly as we can after storms, all those things. But I want to give a big shout out to our recreation and aquatic staff. They did a fantastic job with the events this year. Thank you, Tim. Make sure Justin knows as well. But there's a whole lot of pieces that are behind that to help those things happen. And so I want you to enjoy the ride. And before I finish, I want to share the story. I drove into work this morning, and this is one of the reasons why I kind of really like working here. It's one of those weird things. But, you know, you come in the morning, the sun's gleaming through the pine trees as you come through the gate, and I'm driving past the gate, and there's 2 fawns, spotted fawns, sitting right there in Woodhaven Drive. And they walk by, and I'm going, hey, that's kind of cool. You know, and then I'm thinking, you know, Randy and I were sitting in our office back in May, and we may have watched the mother of those 2 fawns drop those fawns outside my office. It's very possible that happened. So this is a great community. We're not perfect, but we're going to keep striving to get there if we can. I want to thank our board, our volunteers, our committee, our staff, everybody. You know, our interest is to put the association as our top priority, and we sincerely appreciate all of you as owners for what you give to this organization and your participation and your support. You know, back to my 90% rule, there's a silent majority out here that I think you represent that 90% of the people here. We don't see you, we don't talk to you many times, you probably aren't even here. Some of those 90%, but you're the ones that are coming out every weekend and having a wonderful time, enjoying what we do, and we do appreciate everything you guys do. So thank you, and good, you know, looking forward to 2022. You can approve that now.
Jeff, before I go into the State of the Association, on behalf of the board, I want to thank you for your leadership and your steadfastness and character. It's clear when you have good leadership in place, it rolls down, and it's very clear about your leadership. Thank you. And in true Jeff style, he stole some of my thunder. No worries. He's very good on this, and I'm pretty brief. So let's kind of go back to some of the state of the... This was our 50th celebration, and what a year. It was phenomenal, and like Jeff mentioned, it started out with a bang with Mother Nature. We had the ice storm, lot of tree damage. So that started out right with the challenge, but in true Mother Nature, it continued with the pandemic, some of the challenges around that, but it didn't stop us. We had fireworks in the winter. How fantastic was that? I didn't get to enjoy it, but what I did enjoy was people, posting that. That was absolutely wonderful. The snowmobile racing on the Cabin Fever weekend. As I mentioned, there was some great things where it was like a blast from the past, and keeping that and keeping that fresh and surrounding that with some of the best events, best food, and best beer. I don't drink, but I heard that it was very good. It still is very good. Oh, okay. So, and the thing is, we have typically large events, but we upped the ante. We had multiple large events. It's really difficult to scale, especially with the same staff. I know I used to do large events. Every single weekend there was almost a large event. It was simply fantastic. We added 3 main event weekends, and we also did the Friday Night Live. That was a blast. Knowing on Friday night you could go to the lake area, listen to the acoustics, Again, people were having beer, I heard, and enjoying the acoustics. It was wonderful. And even doing, taking it up a notch where the beer part. Let's not take that for granted. I mean, they partnered with Noon Whistle to do that. They promoted it. Had another batch brewed. That takes a lot of extra effort, and they did it. When I would tell people that we had our own beer, they're like, "What? Where is this place? Who are you people?" And I'm like, "Well, apparently they like their beer." Apparently the beer, the effort for the beer, I have to acknowledge Randy. and he's not here, but the past board president, Dave Strutzel. And just to kind of give some highlights, I mentioned, the snowmobile racing was fantastic to see. I think we had, over 22 sleds, Jose, where people enjoyed it. I know we moved it. People weren't too excited initially, but it was a little cold from what I heard. And it was even cold when we did it. But it was great to see that. There was free food, hot cocoa. That's just great. That's hardy Woodhaven people when they do things like that. Fireworks on Woodhaven Lake, simply fantastic. I don't know about you, but when you see dancing fire on the lake, I think that's pretty cool. I kept thinking, wow, that's a dud. But then when I saw it come out of the water, I was like, that's really cool. The water ski show on Woodhaven Lake, apparently that was done at the very, conception of Woodhaven, but then we brought it back. I saw things done in the water that were just simply fantastic in multiple shows. And then even dancing to the music, which they asked and requested if they could do that with the band. That was just really cool. Even my daughter's like, "Oh, Mom, that's pretty good." And then so all in all, I mean, what a huge year. Honestly, I'm kind of scared about next year because we really have to. Tim, we got to bring up our game here. And I know we mentioned recreation department, but like I said, every single weekend in doing this, and there's some key players, they're cooking food during the week and stuff, free food, free drinks. The luau was a buzz of fun, watching people do that. Justin was doing that. Who's that? Okay, all right. Yeah. And then there was Bob in the luau skirt. But no, and you think about that. There was so many people. There was a buzz. Everybody was having fun. It was orderly. It was fun. Dana and Jose were serving drinks, and it was hysterical. But just even the little touches, going around and serving popsicles to the kids. I was like, "Where'd you get that?" They're like, "It's free." That's just wonderful. Where else do you get that? There's other individuals that I'm always constantly following up. With the trailer sitting there every single weekend selling tickets. Amy, thank you. Nikki, a lot of work, and I don't take that for granted. So thank you so much. On a final note, and I'm not going to talk to him about it because I don't have enough time in the world, but their finances are phenomenal. With the PPP loan, as we were signing all the paperwork and whatnot, going through that, even trying to find banks that would work with us on it. It was new to them as well. We came out just smelling like a rose. The sales, phenomenal. Bonita and staff just constantly working it. I can't thank them enough. So let's make sure that we just continue that recreation spirit because that's what we're about. Thank you. Okay, page 12. These people are incredibly important. These are our volunteers. Like the board, these are people who give of their self and their time at Woodhaven, and personally, I can't thank them enough. We have section representatives, and hopefully I don't, I apologize in advance if I mispronounce your name. Section 1, Jim McGrady, Marty Behan. Section 2, Pat Service, Jane Elliott. Section 3, Maria Del Grazio, Judy Gonzalez. Section 4, Marion Schutz and Greg Swanstrom, the Viking. Section 5, Harry Keppel, Marcia Kozowski. Section 6, Michael Flanagan, Video Man. Pat Winters. Karen Larson, Lee Patterson, in Section 7. And I think you know them at Pool 1. Section 8, Linda Smith and Mary Muir. Section 9, We Need People. Section 10, Bob, that would be you, Palatine, Tony Lona. Section 11, Don Anama, sorry Don, and Kelly Fox. Section 12, Heather Hansen and Chris Collins. Section 13, We Need Somebody. Section 14, Geraldine Elliott. Section 15 are Nancy Jackson and Elaine Ayers. Section 16, Ernie Mitchell and Tony Ziegenfuss. Section 17, Jose Navarro. Section 18, Rosemary Colness and Joanne Lenke. Section 19, Carmi Temple. Section 20, Diane Connolly and Jeff Jackson. Section 21, Mr. Moffett. Section 22, Kathy Brush. Section 23, Rita Olson. Section 24, Lori Pica and Marissa Chavez. Section 25, Diana Strong. Section 26, Angel Flores. Section 27, Chris Cordero, Charlene Hill. Section 28, we need some folks. Section 29, Christine Pontrelli. Then these are the volunteer committees. These volunteer committees meet at a minimum once a month and spend several hours once a month, almost every single month of the year. Some committees don't meet every month, but the majority of them meet once a month. ESAC Board of Review, Board Liaison Ivan Martinez. The members Bill Engelman, Dave Fossey, Darlene Singleton, Dick Gobrick, Mary Muir, Neil Smith, and Harry Keppel. Audit Committee, that's Jeff, myself, Laura Packwood. Public Safety Board of Review, that was Ryan Grace. What? Where's Amy? Oh, Amy, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's the bifocals. Public Safety Board of Review, that was Ryan Grace, and now I'm the liaison. Members Frank Lowry as chairperson, Patrick Slyke, George Metzger, Susan Rossi, Heather Hansen, and Louisa Nicotera. Environmental Committee, Staff Liaison Jeff Hickey, members Bill Engelman and Mary Salvatore. Facilities Planning Committee, Board Liaison Charlie Muir, Jeff Hickey. Members are Jim Dow, Terry Gillespie, Peter Krull, Dana Wayne, Jose Gonzalez, Dave Fossey, Tom McLaughlin, and Greg Hoffling. And despite what they say, they have a lot of fun. Finance Committee, Laura Packwood as the Board Liaison, Staff Liaison Jeff Hickey, members John Sheffick, Marco Rodriguez, Nancy Roca, James Parker, Mary Salvatore, and Helena Walden. Communications Committee, and this committee is the committee that assisted in pulling this all together today. Thank you. Board Liaison Pamela Smith, Staff Liaison Nikki Leffelman, Amy Ackert. Members Nancy Jackson, Kim Norwood, Ralph Pimentel, Karen Larson, Cam Chisholm, Linda Stevens. The Governing Document Review Ad Hoc Committee, this was retired this year, but it was a lot of work, sometimes once or twice a month as well. I was the Board Liaison, Staff Liaison Amy Ackert, Jeff Hickey, Karen Roach. Members Dick Gobrick, Kevin Mickelson, Neil Smith, Tracy Lamont, Dana Wayne, John Thanos, Ralph Pimenthal, Wes Ralseth. Veterans Ad Hoc Committee, once again, that was in existence for a few years. It was just retired. Chairperson Ivan Martinez. Members Ernie Mitchell, Rob Rundle, Diana Owens, Leonard Jackson, Tony Ziegenfuss, Dan Martinez, Richard Mull, and Mike Connolly. Aquatics Operation Referendum Ad Hoc Committee, Subcommittee, Chairperson Daniel Rossi, members Jose Gonzalez, Kim Norwood, Chris Collins, Marco Rodriguez, Dana Wayne, Ralph Pimenthal, Lori Pica, John Sheffick. So I've just read these names. I think it's better for you to see the faces. And I'm hoping all of these volunteers can please stand up at this point, and that includes the board. Thank you. Okay, big apology. Apparently I had his wife on my mind, Tony Ziegenfuss. Richard Ziegenfuss was the member for the Veterans Memorial Ad Hoc Committee. Thank you, Laura. All right, at this point in time, we will take member business from the floor. If you'd like to please come up and state your name, section, and lot number. And if you could please keep it to 3 minutes, I would appreciate it. And hold, please. You need a mic.
Ready? Yes. Diana Owens, Section 2, Lot 32. Thank you, Todd. You got him working, huh? Never escapes. I just want to say, I think you did an absolutely fantastic job this summer. I've never seen Woodhaven the way that it's been with I'm in Section 2, Lot 32. There's been more people in my section every week, every weekend than the 30-plus years that I've been at Woodhaven. We have so many new people. That being said, the people on golf carts are idiots, and they fly by. I mean, they're flying by. And coming into Section 2, if you come in the gate and you make that left-hand turn and then come around to Section 2, when they hit that corner, it is scary. I've seen them going up on 2 wheels, which I did not know was possible with a golf cart. That's the only complaint I've got. You guys are doing a good job. Do they not have speedometers? And if they don't, they need to. And one other little thing, are they patrolling them for drinking and driving? Because they're drinking and driving. And if I needed to give you pictures, I could do it. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I hate to say this, but just a quick point of order. It's an LSV, but we knew exactly what you meant. That's it. Yeah, and the majority, the new ones do. Some of the older ones do not. Thank you, Diana.
Richard Mall, Section 13, lots 74 and 75. First off, I'd make a compliment to the entire board. You're all doing a great job. But furthermore, I wish to really extend a congratulatory thank you to the water department. And they say, well, it's water department. Thank goodness that they came to my rescue. I had a plumbing issue, and they took care of it like instantly. I wasn't even home, and they were already working on it. So the water department, thanks again. And thanks again for all your help and what you guys are doing. I like to see where my money goes, and you're doing a good job.
And I totally agree about the water department.
Ralph McCurdy, 1370 and 71. I, again, want to sound like a broken record, but outstanding job that the board, their employees, and all you are doing is outstanding. But what I want to talk about is Jeff and his two fawns. For a health reason, my wife and I leave the property Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday mornings around 6 o'clock. Saturday morning at 6 o'clock, there were 12 deer coming out of section 13. And before we got to the gate, there were 25, including a buck by the bulletin board. So we have a herd of deer, and some people like them, some people don't. They're beautiful to look at. But other than that, I'm glad to hear that we recovered from the incident in 2015. And I've been here 46 years, and yes, we have a lot more people on property today than we had in earlier years.
And Ralph, thank you for being here. From what I recall, every single annual meeting. Thank you.
You know how to spell my name, right?
We'll get it right one of these times.
Frank Mucci, 14-2, and if you know me, you know I always have something to say. First off, the annual report. You know, when you have money, it's easy to lose sight of purposeful and sane spending, because it's easy to spend money that when you have a lot of it. It's obvious that the board and the volunteers have held tight to meeting their goals and objectives for how to spend money properly. I appreciate that, and I hope people following in your footsteps have that same goal in mind. Secondly, the aquatic staff, they're awesome. I don't think there's a pool that could be any safer. You know, I observed them. I worked at a pool, and I have no problems with feeling safe there, or even if bringing the grandkids. They are very good. I've never seen anything that needed correction. Thirdly, I'm sure at some point in time, every committee is going to meet and have an after-action plan to look at what they accomplished this year and say, you know, we could have maybe done this different, or we could have done it better. But as the end user of all your services and products, I have to say, absolutely 110% perfect. So I think that's crazy good too. The, I guess, building and grounds or maintenance staff, you look around, and I said this last year, you look around and the place is like a national park almost. It's well groomed, well maintained. You could tell that effort's been put into that. I appreciate that too. I say these things because you're going to rebroadcast this, and for some people that may have doubt, I hope they listen to all of the comments that were made here to support your efforts as the board, and actually half of this group here are the volunteers. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Frank.
Good morning, Heather Hansen, 1248. I'm sorry to not see the Public Safety Department here this morning, because I think they're very much a part of your family and what makes this place successful and safe. And I observed this morning 2 of the public safety officers perform life-saving measures on a family member of our park. And I think we ask about what they patrol and what they're doing, and sometimes we might get asked to slow down, but I think we really need to take a minute to recognize They are there so quickly. They beat the ambulance, they beat the fire department. Today they beat Lee County Sheriff's Department. And we really need to propose a recognition day for all of those first responders, because they are what keep us safe and healthy and make this such a wonderful, wonderful place to enjoy with our families. Thank you.
Heather, I couldn't agree more. Thank you.
Laura Packwood. Laura Packwood, 219394. The only thing I'd like to say is I want to just extend a huge, huge thank you to all of the Woodhaven staff for the last, 17 months. You guys have done a phenomenal job through this entire pandemic. We had tremendous challenges throughout the last 2 seasons, especially last year. And you guys were able to accomplish a lot of things that a lot of different facilities throughout Illinois were not. And so for that, I want to commend you and your staff, because without you, this park would not have been able to function the way we did all last season and for this season. So thank you very much to the entire staff. Jeff, you, Amy, Randy, the entire staff. Thank you very much.
Thanks for lowering the microphone. Can you click it one? Dana Wayne, Section 5, Lot 62 and Lot 198. I want to follow up on discussing about the staff. Not only are you guys always there, but every single staff member that I run into at Woodhaven always has a smile on their face. And I almost feel like they don't feel like they're going to work because they enjoy it so much. I have never been in an organization before that everyone enjoys their jobs. And that comes down from the leadership and the management. So thank you for being great managers and promoting wonderful employees. They do us an outstanding job for us, and I know there's many times that us property owners are not the easiest to deal with. So on that behalf, thanks for always smiling. We enjoy you. Thank you.
That's right. Uh-oh. Dick Gobrecht, Section 10, Lot 230. I'd like to take some time to thank our resource department, in particular Jerry and his staff for keeping our lakes so clean. There's not a week goes by that I don't see that weed harvester out there, and that takes a lot of effort, a lot of expertise, and he does a wonderful, wonderful job. And just thank you.
All right, motion. Oh, yeah, go.
Dennis House, 8-110. I'm new, bought this year, put the trailer, thank you. I have a question, a comment, and a suggestion. The comment was, I went this morning and I bought a shed to put on the lot, and the first thing they told me was, I can only have 7-foot sidewalls because of your 9-foot height restriction. And that if it had been 6 inches higher, I could have had 8-foot sidewalls, which is important in a shed. So that's just first impression comment on that. The suggestion that I had was you got the PPP windfall money. It really is windfall. It's one time, not you didn't have to pay it back in anything. And given the connectivity situation out here, I'd like to just suggest that you think about expanding the Wi-Fi access to the comfort stations. It would make it available to more people, and it certainly would come in well under that money. And then the question is, I came out here and my cell phone don't work, and I don't have connectivity, and that's I think it's due to storm damage. Has anyone got an update on when that's going to be repaired?
So I'm not sure what cell service you have.
T-Mobile.
Okay. So I had Sprint, T-Mobile, and just to explain to you as a new property owner, most of the people in the park either have Verizon, Sprint, AT&T, or U.S. Cellular, because T-Mobile never worked here. And the reason that is, well, let me explain. It was always the big joke. You come in you come in the gate, and your service just shut off.
Yep.
And that's because the T-Mobile tower stopped right outside of Sublette proper. Okay. When T-Mobile purchased and merged with Sprint, everybody thought Sprint was going to be great because, oh yay, T-Mobile's going to work now because
it went the other way, huh?
Right, it went the other way because I have Sprint. So over the last several weeks, and this started when I was here on vacation, I've spent probably in excess of 5 hours working with T-Mobile on the phones, trying to get them to understand that within 61367, which is our zip code here, and 61310, which is Amboy, they have between the months of April and October anywhere from 15,000 to 50,000 people in 5 different campgrounds. Okay? And I've tried to explain that people that have Sprint that are now T-Mobile, they're going to lose probably a third of their customer base because it's not working. Mm-hmm. If you look at your phone, you're now in roaming. So what they've explained to me several times is that when we hit inside the gate, we go to what's a roaming, and whatever cell carrier is in this area, and it really doesn't have anything to do with storm damage. It has to do with everyone on roaming. What's happening is because we're on T-Mobile Sprint, we're using up all that roaming data just to use our phones. So they're in the process of trying to expand that roaming data and actually bringing in more equipment in this general area to get it into Amboy and Sublette, and they are working on it. They just don't know the time frame right now. Because I told them, I said, you're going to lose a lot of customers, me included, and because I'm ready to go sign them for AT&T tomorrow.
Me too.
Yeah. And because this weekend, it's been bouncing between U.S. Cellular and T-Mobile. And it was funny because this morning I had T-Mobile full bars. So I don't know if they're still working on it, but it is very intermittent. But if you continue to call, like if you call 611 or you call their customer service and you talk to them and you tell them you're having an issue, but you have to give them your specific location, they need to pinpoint where the issues are at. Because I told them how big the park is. So
typically I use my hotspot, and that's not working either.
It won't work here.
Which is why my suggestion to maybe consider expanding to the comfort stations should be considered. Thank you.
T-Mobile's not. No.
Just thank you, Dennis. Dennis, just a couple things. Get with Randy over here. Randy Kaler on your shed issue. He'll talk to you. Randy, raise your hand so he sees who you are. And then, the expansion is more complicated than we realize, but it is something we're certainly considering. With regard to the PPP loans, though, that ultimately is going to be in your hands as owners, I believe, is what we will try to figure out how we want to reinvest that money. At the end of the day, it's a surplus, and we need to figure out how best to redistribute that to you. Some people will be very much in favor of expanding IT and doing different things. Other people may want a splash pad or splash park or Some people may want $150 back in their pocket. So that issue will be discussed and debated during the budget process. And that is, I do want to let you know, that's been an ongoing challenge for us here at Woodhaven for years. And I will stress, as I've said in the past, that there is no simple solution to the IT challenges. So anyway, thank you for your comments and welcome aboard. You bet.
Okay. Is it on? All right. Ivan Martinez, 21-160-161. My kudos for this season are to staff that were involved in the purchase, promotion, ticket sales of our Airstream trailer for this season. It's been a fantastic piece of equipment that we have out there for everyone. We pulled it at the Mendota Corn Fest last weekend, and this Saturday coming up, it'll also be on the parade over at Amboy Depot Days on Saturday at 3 p.m. We'll have kids, other owners, the Good Timers Club, pitching candy to the people on the sidelines and having a good time, because when you're an owner here, you're part of the bigger community that we have around us. We're all one big family, and I would like to thank staff again for the promotion that they did in reference to that Airstream. It really has been awesome.
Madam Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn the annual meeting.
Second.
We don't know who that was.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion passed. We will adjourn for a little bit, and the board meeting will be at 1.
Okay, a couple quick things for everybody on the board meeting before we get too far away. We'll have a chance to mingle for a little bit. The board meeting will start at 1. We do have one executive session item that we have to address after the board meeting opens, so we will be asking the room to be cleared, and then you can come back and watch the business portion. Just want to give you a heads up. Thank you, everybody, for coming.